Hello and welcome to video 3 of the 12 weeks of videos along with this guide. By today's title, you can all see that we are going to be talking about fueling post-session. How should you feel after your session, which is just as important as how you should be feeling before a session. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is what you need to know. Post-workout meals are important for injury prevention. They're not just, satisfy hunger and just, eat because they actually have a purpose. They You want to make it as protein focused as you can, which we will talk about. Post workout meals help replenish the energy stores you use during a session. So obviously, whenever you're working out, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's weightlifting, a hit session, or just like a run or something like that, you're going to be using a lot of energy whenever you're doing that. And that's, whenever it comes up in your watch as calories, even though that's not totally, what's the word I'm trying to think of, accurate reading of total calories burnt, but you're going to be burning quite a lot of calories and using a lot of energy during a session. So you want to think of your post-workout meal as something that's going to replenish the energies, and to also help with injury prevention. And number 4, post-workout meals can also help reduce muscle soreness. And I'm sure you've all been here before. You wake up the next day, or even actually for me, it's like day two DOMs are like the worst for me. You wake up, your muscles are so sore, you can barely sit down in the toilet, you can barely get up the stairs. Getting out of bed is, a lot harder than, it already is, and post-workout meals can really help reduce the muscle soreness that you're feeling and help reduce DOMs and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So when should you refuel? Now, whenever I first started working out and whenever I first started, my career as a personal trainer, there was a lot of questions about is there a perfect time you should eat your post-workout meal, and a lot of people said there's this like 1 hour to 2 hour window that you need to get your meal in, or else it's wasted and you don't have that time back. That's a myth, because there's no perfect time to have it. A lot of times if you finish a session, you don't get to have your meal until an hour, and whenever you get back, then that's okay. You do, like, ideally have a 2 to 3 hour window to get your post-workout meal in would be ideal, and that's just purely because you want to be able to recover the best you can. You don't have to do it straight away. It used to be a massive thing where you would finish a session and then have to immediately go and have some sort of protein drink or a protein bar or something like that in case you lose all your gains. That's a myth. It is it's not. I'm not saying it's a bad idea to bring a protein shake or a protein bar or something protein based with you, for immediately after your session. That's like obviously an ideal thing to do, just so that you're getting your protein in straight away, so you have the best chance of recovery. But the same thing's going to happen if you don't get to your meal an hour or 2 hours later, whatever that is, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever it is. So there's no like perfect time, it's just whenever you can get it in, and it's the important thing is that you actually do get it in. So what should your plate look like? I enjoy making this a little bit too much, I will say. So obviously this is just an example of a meal that I would have for breakfast or lunch, not breakfast, lunch or dinner. Obviously first and most important, well, I wouldn't say most important, but up there. Obviously this is depending on your calorie intake and your macro count. You should aim to have a good portion of protein on your plate. I like to aim between 30 to 40 grams per meal. This is just obviously what works for me, but I also find this a good target for majority of people whenever it comes to lunchtime, especially a post-workout meal. Just because it's getting a good chunk of your protein into your system, and if you have a certain protein count that's maybe 120 130 grams, it's a good chunk of that already taken off that for one of your meals. Then we have carbohydrates. Carbs are king. I will say, I might actually get that tattooed on me. They're your body's main energy source, especially after a workout when your energy has been depleted. And I know for me personally, whenever I first started working out, carbs were something that I completely avoided, especially after a meal. I was like, oh, I only need to focus on protein after my meal. But whenever you, like I said previously in the first couple of slides, you're going to be using a lot of energy throughout your workout, so you need to replace that energy with your body's main source of energy, which is carbs. And the best way to have that is to have carbs on your plate. So whether that's rice, whole grain rice, a bagel, pasta, potatoes, sweet potato, whatever it is, just some sort of carb that you're replenishing the energy that your body's already used. And then fibers and grain, these are just important as protein and carbs, as well as fats as well. Fats are in there too. Obviously, they're just as important, like I just said, and they contain fiber and volume to a plate, which will keep you satisfied for longer. And obviously, fats is another source, another macro that will help with your energy satisfaction and keep you a little bit fuller for longer. But definitely adding fruit and vegetables to your plate when and where you can will just keep you fuller for longer, and obviously just provide you that little bit more fiber, which is important to keep everything moving, if you know what I mean. So another kind of post-workout meal inspiration, and these are all meals that I've made myself for lunch or dinner, whatever it is. This pasta, red pepper, roasted, sun-dried tomato, chicken pasta. I'm working on the title. The title is a little bit long for my liking. We'll just call it tomato chicken pasta. This cucumber tuna bagel, which I will have for my lunch today because it is so refreshing and so like high in protein. It's just ideal, and it takes like literally 5 minutes to make. And then we've got fajita mince bowl, which in the little ebook that I've sent you, you will definitely find that in there because that's my go-to meal prep meal. You got typical just mayo, chicken, lettuce wrap with a whole grain wrap, and just so easy to make and just like packs a punch. And then down at the bottom there we have a hoisin chicken and lettuce wrap as well. Really, really nice. If you got a wee bit more time, hoisin chicken is just perfect. It's so nice and also really easy to make. So yeah, those are just a couple of post-workout meal inspirations for you guys. Like I said, post-workout meals are just important as pre-workout meals. I'm making the first couple of videos the most important kind of information videos. And like I said, nutrition is the most important part of this whole thing. So yeah, hopefully that has helped and given you a wee bit more insight into why you need to be eating your post-workout meals and what they kind of actually do for you, and just, yeah, making sure that you're getting it in there, getting your protein in there so you can recover the best you can. So you wake up the next day and you're able to get out of bed and you're able to sit down in the toilet and you're able to do your next training session. Because the worst thing is DOMS, and what we don't want is injuries. Like, we don't want that. So we will be focusing big time on injury prevention through nutrition and also through recovery. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful to you. And of course, if there's any questions you need to ask me, you know where I am. And yeah, have an amazing day. Bye.